Okay, as you know, Pastor Nick is in Texas, and he left this new sheriff in charge. And normally he gives me a lot of time, heads up, that I'm going to be preaching so I can come up with some stuff that I think ends up being okay. This week on Tuesday he said, "So you're preaching on Sunday, right?" What? And so I'm like, well, yeah, okay, you know. So let's start off this way. Do we believe in the Bible? Yes. Do we believe that Jesus was sent as a baby, died on the cross for our sins? Yes. That's a lot to believe. Do you honestly believe that the Bible is the truth, is God's word? Yes. All right, you just committed to something that you might not realize what you just committed to. Here's the thing. Nick asked me to preach on Tuesday. I don't have a sermon. I don't have an idea. Normally he doesn't tell me anything. He just says, go ahead and do whatever. This week he goes, well, if you don't have anything. Last week I talked about serving. And I said, oh, well, I left because I had to go do the children's church. So I go, well, so what do you want me to talk about? He goes, well, he handed me this paper. And it has an outline of the service, which obviously I didn't follow. But it says right here, sermon, Jeff Collins, serve more. So obviously you guys didn't listen. So I looked at this, and it's actually his notes. He's got it right down what he wants me to talk about. And it says that he talked about last week about Sunday school. We needed people for Sunday school, Bible study teachers, children, youth leaders, office help, schedule return flyers, maintenance, transportation workers for kids that can't get here, outreach workers, ushers, greeters, choir members, soloists, musicians, audio video technicians, social media coordinators, treasurers, accountants, kitchen workers, nursery, photography, home, hospital visits, missions, VBS, and I don't know what this means, ETC. Yeah, but what else could there be? So, my thought is, wow, you gave people a lot of options to come and serve the Lord. I said, so how did it go? No one signed up for anything. So then I read the very next sentence. This might be his problem because I can see the beginning of his sermon. It says, you can't earn salvation. You can't earn it. So by doing good things, that doesn't earn our way to salvation. So that said to me, well, how do we get to heaven? So I used my friend Google, and I Googled, how do I get to heaven? First verse that popped up was John 4:6. Jesus said, I am the way and the truth and life. No one comes to the Father except through me. The second one popped up. Google's pretty smart. John 3:5. Jesus answered, very truly I tell you, no one can enter the kingdom of God unless they are born of water and spirit. Well, that has nothing to do with serving, so I think we're good. I think we can all get to heaven without serving a lick. Now, don't tell Nick I said that, but I think he's a little crazy. So then I went on to read how he started his sermon. Now, if you were here last week, tell me if you heard this. But you know what? I can earn the chance for others to find it. I can bring others to a place or an opportunity to meet the risen Christ that we profess. Well, call me crazy, but if that's not going to help me get to heaven, what the heck am I wasting my time for? I mean, Doesn't Nick know the world's changed? It's all about me? I mean, I don't quite get where he's going with trying to get you guys to do more serving. I mean, it's just like when Jesus was doing it, there wasn't Google. Yeah, he had to go around the whole world, his part of the world, and talk about something completely brand new that we had never talked about before. A brand new way of thinking. 2,000 years later, if you want to hear it, you've already heard it. Why do we have to tell other people? At least that's what I'm thinking. You know, if you want to know about Jesus, there's millions of videos on YouTube. Just watch one. Don't get me involved. The world has changed since the Bible was written, and I'm not sure that serving is all that important. This was new to the people back then because they'd never heard it. You know what? Let me tell you last time I decided to serve. So the athletic director at the school said, "Hey, would you mind coaching 5th, 6th grade basketball kids?" I'm thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding me. So I told him the perfect answer. If you don't find anybody else, then I'll think about it. Well, had to think about it because he came back a couple weeks later going, we have nobody to teach, and I'd really like to get these boys to start learning basketball. None of them have played. That's not really helping your case if you're going to tell me that none of these boys have played. So we get there, and I've got boys in 3 or 4 sweatpants. I got kids in dress clothes, dress shoes, showing up to this practice. To be honest with you, if you're from my age, this is exactly what my team looked like. Anybody know what that is? That's exactly what I thought. What in the world am I going to do with these kids? Why in the world does God want me to serve these kids? But no one else is going to do it, so I'm going to do it. And I'd love to tell you it was a lovely time, because that's what serving is supposed to be, lovely. But it wasn't. I had parents not pick up, thank goodness. I had a mother that stepped up and probably saved me from quitting. She's sitting right there because she decided she would stay with the kids' parents, or the kids, until the parents showed up. And I'm sure it was 45 minutes that one time. I mean, we've got parents that just don't care. And I'm just like 2 hours of these kids not paying attention, not doing what I'm asking. I've got one kid, the very first day of practice, he's dribbling the ball. We're doing drills, but he's lagging behind. He's this kind of kid you've all seen. He's this kid that, and when you were in school, did you ever see kids on the ground always picking up their papers? That's one of my players. This kid is a little bit backwards, a little shy, just kind of does not have it all together yet. He's not my Michael Jordan of the team. Let's just put it nicely. The very first practice, we're dribbling back and forth, and next thing I know, behind me, I hear, "Oh!" And I'm like, what in the heck? And I look back, and this poor kid looks like a policeman tape job, where he's just like this. And I look back, and I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? His glasses are laying there. He's got one shoe over this way, and he's got another shoe over that way. I'm like, we're dribbling a basketball. What are you doing? And I'm just like, what have I gotten myself into? Then I've got another kid on the team that has never played basketball, but he's got some height. So I'm like, I can work with this. I can work with this kid. This kid's got some height. He doesn't know how to do everything yet, but hey, I can work with this guy. He doesn't want to listen to me. All he wants to do is shoot 3-pointers. Just shoot threes. He'll miss them all, but for goodness sakes, I'm putting it up. So I'm like, Lord, I can't teach these kids. Why are you doing this to me? Anyways, again, I don't know why we're serving, but that's kind of where I'm at about serving. As you can tell, this is probably not the message Nick was thinking I would deliver. You know, do you ever question and think about things that Christians aren't supposed to think about? Like, I just don't understand. What's so important about us helping each other? Why do we need to spread the word of God to others? If we've got our religion, we've got our faith, isn't that what we're supposed to do to get to heaven? And that's really the end goal? Aren't we all just trying to get there? Today's society, people don't believe, come on, you've had the chance to learn about God. It's your choice. Isn't that what everybody says anymore? It's my choice, my choice. Well, don't believe in God, it's your choice. So why does Nick want us to care so much about all these people that we don't really even know? And to be honest with you, if this is the part I don't get, if we're supposed to serve and that was so important, shouldn't that be a part of getting into heaven? We don't have to serve. It doesn't say it. We've already read what it takes to get to heaven. So if serving was so important, why in the heck doesn't God throw that in there to be a part of it? That's just me. I'm just asking. Have you ever questioned God? I mean, as Christians, seriously, come on. If you haven't, you're not a human. I mean, you know you've gone and said, why didn't he? Or he should have done it this way. Or what was he thinking? Or my favorite, are you kidding me? That leads me to my next question. Have you ever thought, if I were God, what I would do? Oh, come on, you have. You know darn well you've thought about it. I would make sure that I would heal everybody. I would end hunger. I would stop wars. I would bring countries together. I would make this place perfect. But he doesn't want to do that, so why is it my problem to do it? Have you ever gone to a friend's? I've got a lot of questions. Have you ever gone to a friend's house and played dominoes? Everybody's got different rules, don't they? Some's got this little train that you got to play with. Other people got pennies. You got to tap twice here. Over here, these people, you only do this. I mean, there are different rules to dominoes than I ever dreamed of. Which then got me thinking, if there's that many different rules for dominoes, who's right? Is my house right? Well, of course, but got me to thinking about, we're all in God's game. So his rules are the ones that count, not what we believe the rules should be. I thought, you know what, if I believe that I'm playing in God's game, then I really need to figure out a little bit more about this serving and why it's so important to God. So I go back to Google and I say, you know what, Google? Find me why it's important to God to serve. Before I got this far on Google, I didn't have to scroll down. There were over 50 scriptures that explained why it was important to serve. Let me read you 3. John 13:12 through 15. When we had washed their feet and put on their outer garments and resumed his place, he said to them, do you understand what I have done to you? You call me teacher and Lord, and you are right, for so I am. If I then am your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you have also ought to wash another's feet. For I have given you examples that you also should do as I have done for you. Matthew 25:35-40. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me. Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you a drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison And the king will answer them, truly I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these brothers, you did it to me. Matthew 5:14 through 16. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, put it on a stand, and it gives light to the entire house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your works and give you glory to your Father who is in heaven. Not to mention the big one, in the commandments, the top 10 list, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. All right, so maybe Nick does know something about this whole thing. Maybe serving is kind of important. Maybe we don't always know what's best for us. Let me tell you a quick story that happened about 2.5 months ago. I'm planning to go on a cruise. Starting to have a lot of indigestion. You get nervous. It's just indigestion, no big deal. Well, now it's starting to happen every day. I'm getting scared because I'm like, I'm going to be on a 14-day cruise in the middle of the water, and I'm going to have indigestion, which is very bad. It's not just normal indigestion, it's real bad indigestion. Like, it's scary indigestion. Like, am I having a heart attack, or is this indigestion? Well, of course it's indigestion, because you're not having a heart attack. So, as I go and get closer and closer to this, I'm getting more and more nervous because I'm getting indigestion more, because I'm thinking about it. Of course, it's not a heart thing, it's a da-da-da-da. So I run down this little rabbit hole, and I'm like, there's no way I can go out on a cruise 14 days and be in Colombia and go, where's your best hospital? So yeah, I'm scared. I'm like, Lord, I can't do this. What do I need your help, Lord. I need your help. At this time, I'm reading the Bible, and I'm reading a mustard seed will be able to move mountains if you have faith like that. And I'm like, Lord, I got all the faith in the world. Heal this now. But that's not what he was thinking. Next thing you know, about 3 weeks prior to this cruise that I've paid for, that I'm not going to get my money back, and I don't want to be there, and it was to the day 3 weeks prior to this trip that I'm scared and don't know how I'm going to pull off this trip. I get indigestion so bad that it lasted 9 hours. And it ended with me going to the hospital, because I finally said, I can't do this anymore. I've got so much pain. Let me just die, Lord, if you don't want to let me go on this cruise. So I tell my wife at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to the hospital. And she goes, okay. So we get in the hospital, get in the car. I drive because, of course, I'm not that sick. She was white knuckling it the whole way, but you know, hey, it was all about me, because that's our society. So I drive and go in there, and I'm just hunched over. I've got I'm just walking like this, and it's the brand new hospital. So I'm like, oh, what am I doing at this new hospital? We don't know. It's the Pickerington one. What the heck? So I go in, and when you know, they walk me right to my bed. When does that happen in an ER? And I'm like, all right, Lord, you must have this. They give me some medication. Within an hour, I'm out of pain. So I looked at my wife and said, it's time to go. We're good. She's like, nope, we're going to figure out what this is. Long story short, we take a bunch of tests, find out that I have a gallstone stuck in a thing called a duct. And I don't know anything about it, but I do now. Let me tell you, if that happens, it gets stuck, you're in pain. So after all this done, I'm like, I'm out of pain. That stone is passed. Let's roll. And nope, we're going to take care of it. And I'm like, but we got a cruise. Of course, I still don't want to go on a cruise. I'm sitting in a hospital bed. 3 days later, I go and I stayed in the hospital all the days after doing all these tests. 3 days later, they decide they're going to take it out. So I'm sitting here looking at a 12-year-old doctor, it looks like. And he looks at me and says, well, we're going to get your gallbladder out. And I make one final plea. I go, Doc, if you can go in and get the gallstones, because what they're going to do is they're going to go in and get all the gallstones out and then take the gallbladder. I looked at him with all seriousness. I said, if you can go in and take all those out, why can't we leave the gallbladder? It's not how we do it. And I'm like looking at Doogie Howser going, all right, whatever, dude. At this point, I've put in so much work, I just want to be done with it. So they tell my family, probably be a half hour, no big deal. Hour at the most if we run into problems. So we go. I look back and look at the doctor, and the guy goes, this should relieve some stress that you might be going through. And I wake up, and I see my kids and some strange lady next to me. Ended up being 2 hours. The doctor said that he had never seen that big of gallstones ever. He had never seen that many ever. And I will let you know that this man was so giddy, he told my wife and kids, your husband has 2 appendixes. I've never seen it. I've read about it in books, but I've never seen it. He was so excited. He didn't care about surgery. He was so excited to tell them that I've got 2 appendixes. I'm in less than 2% of the world because I've got 2 appendixes. So I'm like, what in the world is going on here? This is an awful lot. Lord, couldn't you have just let me belch one time and this could have all been done? So we did it his way, and here's what happened. I was able to go on the cruise. I didn't think about it at all because I didn't have indigestion. I haven't taken any kind of Pepsid or any kind of pill whatsoever. I enjoyed my trip thoroughly. I wanted just to get a belch out that night, but God had a bigger plan for me. I'm glad I ended up doing it his way. Now, this week, as Nick told me all about this, the seeds I had planted back in December, January, February, I didn't think I did anything with these kids. One of them, right before a second soccer game, the one that wanted to score 3-pointers, he looked at me, he was sitting in the youth room, he goes, hey, Coach, Dad. He always called me Coach Dad because Coach Adam is my son, Coach Dad was me. He goes, thanks a lot. I go, thanks a lot? Dude, I haven't talked to you in 3 months. What do you want to thank me about? That was internal. I said, yeah, what for? And he said, you taught me everything I know about basketball. And I would have learned a lot more if I'd started listening sooner. I'm like, wow, okay. Maybe something did work. I don't know. And then Friday night, I go to the play. And this kid that was backwards and dropping book bags and laying like a police line out on the floor and shoes this way. And so, that kid went to a basketball game and he literally scored two baskets, 4 points in one game. And he floated out of the gym that night. And then I see him up on stage and he's singing one of the main roles. There's like 6 roles, but he has singing. He's standing on a table singing a song to the audience. There's no way this kid should be doing this. And after the performance, I go, buddy, my daughter had him in 1st grade, and he was backwards then. So I know this kid from a long time. And I go, you're scoring baskets, you're playing basketball, you're singing solos in a play. What's next? Because this kid is broken out of his shell. And I said, what's next, buddy? And he goes, I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. Isn't it amazing if we don't try to do things our way and we just do what God asks us to do? I don't have all the answers by any stretch, but what I do know is that I serve a risen Lord, that I know that he has my best interest in mind. And if he thinks it's important for me to serve, I will serve.